YouTube, try to keep this video to 5 minutes. A wee demo of this 60s, I think they made it into the early 70s, but I think it's like 68, 69, something like that, sounds about right. Jedson, think it's Japanese, think it's made by Sakai. It's very similar to a Sakai I had a couple of months ago. It was a different shape though, this one's telecaster shape. I think the neck, to be honest, might be exactly the same as we saw it. It was kind of like a Mosrite shape. It doesn't have the tremolo arm, so it's basically like a hardtail. Doesn't move. I had to replace the pickups because, well, I didn't cut the pickups out. It already had the pickups were already missing, and it had been routed badly. But someone looked like they did it with a chisel. They put other humbuckers in, and there was only one there, and it was all rusty, so I just ditched it. These are from a vintage brand, SG, so they are vintage pickups. Yes, these normally have two-way switches, just like an on-off switch for each pickup. Instead, I've put in a three-way Les Paul type switch, and this is a coil split, which gives you a sort of normal guitar sound. And if you coil split, it sounds kind of more like what this guitar would have sounded like with its original pickups in it. Volume and a tone, new output jack. No, there's a few wee, as I said, it's from the 60s. There's a few wee things sort of not quite right about it. There's a knot a bit chunked out the nut here, but because it's got a 0 fret, it doesn't really affect anything. And the only way you would ever notice is if you try and bend on the first 2 frets the A string up the way, as in that way, it affects it. But see if you bend it down the way, fine. And who bends the A string up the way? You always bend, you know, you bend these 3 strings down and these 3 strings up, like that. So it's not really an issue, so I never bothered fixing it. That's really the only real issue, and it's only there's one of the neck bolts isn't there, but it was there when I got it. I'll put a link below for a much bigger video. This is really just a demonstration show it working. So this is it in coil split mode, which I reckon is sounding kind of like what this guitar would have sounded like originally. Kind of almost like a banjo neck pickup. Both pickups. Humbucker's quite a big jump in sound, so it now sounds a bit more like a normal guitar. Neck. Bridge. I'm going to hit the stamp on the first pedal, which to me it just seems right for this guitar. Oh, 4.5 minutes. Yeah, I'm going to get it under 5 minutes probably. I'm going to now talk for more than 30 seconds. I'm not going to bother rushing it though. Okay, so yes, it's lightweight, it's solid. I've kind of checked everything apart from that wee issue there, but it doesn't. I don't think that affects it because it's fine for bending and vibrato. It's only if you try and bend that note up the way, which nobody's ever going to do. So the frets are all good. I did a wee bit of crowning, polishing on them, but there's no dead spots. None of them are choking out. Handles the high up, bendy stuff. I don't know if you're ever really going to use the coil splitty thing on it. These pickups are kind of vintage voiced, so the coil split is actually quite a very low output when it's a single coil, which is very similar to what would actually have been in this. But I mean, and the intonations, even though you can argue about how well you can ever intonate like a metal bar going across the way, it's good. Acoustics do alright. Acoustics just have a straight bar, so it's kind of like that. Everything works on it. Well, tremolo doesn't work, but I mean, it is what it is, and it's quite thin and very light. So it'll be a great guitar for, like, let's just be sexist and say I can totally see this being a great girl's guitar, like for a dainty lady who wants something short, and it's like being super sexist again. Girls tend to sort of do a bit more that kind of playing as opposed to being, you know, which is more the way I would play. Yeah, sexist. Nothing wrong with being sexist, sexy. But I mean, for that bit, loves that wee fuzz pedal. That wee fuzz pedal's a Delamo one that was like 20 quid off eBay. Not expensive. I'm playing through the wee Laney VC15 amp. Nothing else is on. Nice and easy, simple, quite kind of does what it says in the tin. Nice wee 60s guitar. The colour is awesome. I mean, I love it. And to be honest, if I didn't have the Antoria, which is pretty much the same colour, this is a more expensive guitar though. This is kind of full thickness and weighs about 4 times as much as this. This would be like a sort of 60s, and then when you get into the 70s you started making, so you can see how it's not quite a telly when you put it right next to a telly. I would still, you can argue over whether it's a telecaster or not. Is it? I was actually thinking of putting telecaster pickups in it, but because it had already been cut out for the humbuckers, I just put humbuckers in and put the coil split in, just so you can get telecaster sounds. But nice and sounds pretty good unplugged. Well, unplugged. So, going to put this up for sale on probably where you'll see this video, on Facebook Marketplace. Maybe swap for something. Maybe I kind of like doing electrics and stuff, so maybe swap for something that's kind of cheap because it's missing a pickup or the wiring's not perfect. So I can kind of trade up by putting a wee bit of work into it. But there's no issues with this. Really, I would just, it might be interesting just for that, if you're looking for something to just have a slightly different sound, because I mean it does have a different sound. I mean if you're playing it through with the fuzz pedal, it really does have a very 60s, you know, I'm thinking Jefferson Airplane and Strawberry Alarm Clock type thing going on it. To me, I mean, I think other people would see it and go, oh, it's like an old blues guitar. It could be totally awesome for that as well. Like kind of the sort of thing you would play through like a wee tweed amp that's up really loud. Play stinking blues on it. Rockin'. Catch you later.